If you installed solar in New York City last year, or you're planning to in the future, you could be eligible for thousands of dollars in combined state and city tax incentives. But here's the catch. They're claimed in two completely different ways, and confusing them can delay your savings. Let's use a simple example. Say your solar system costs $40,000. Here's what your tax savings could look like. Up to $5,000 back from New York State. Up to $3,000 per year off your NYC property taxes for 4 years, or roughly $12,000 in total. That's around $17,000 in combined incentives. That's assuming you qualify and have sufficient tax liability. Now, let's break down where that money actually comes from. First, the New York State Solar Energy System Equipment Credit. This is often referred to as the New York State Solar Tax Credit. New York State offers a 25% income tax credit, capped at $5,000. For example, 25% of a $40,000 system is $10,000, but the credit is capped at $5,000. To qualify, the system must use solar radiation to produce electricity, heating, cooling, or hot water. It must be installed and used at your primary residence in New York State. It must be placed into service during the tax year that you're claiming. This credit is non-refundable, meaning it can reduce your New York State income tax liability to zero, but not beyond that. Can't use the full amount in 1 year? You can carry the unused portion forward for up to 5 years. So if your system was placed into service last calendar year, you can claim this credit when filing your New York State tax return, which is due April 15th. How to claim the New York State solar credit on your taxes. Step 1. Gather your documents. You'll need your solar contract or detailed invoice, records of qualifying expenditures, the date your system was placed into service. This is usually when you receive permission to operate from your utility. Step 2. Complete Form IT-255. Form IT-255 calculates the credit based on your qualified costs. There, you will enter the total qualified costs, multiply by 25%. Apply the $5,000 maximum cap. Step 3. Attach your state tax return. Attach Form IT-255 when filing your IT-201 New York State resident return for the tax year. That's it for the state side. Now, here's where people get confused. The state credit is claimed on your income tax return. The NYC incentive is not. Second, NYC Solar Property Tax Abatement. The NYC Solar Property Tax Abatement reduces your property taxes, not your income taxes. Here's how it works in simple terms. Currently, the abatement equals 7.5% of eligible system costs every year for 4 years. Using that same $40,000 example, 7.5% of $40,000 equals $3,000. Over 4 years, that equals about $12,000 total. If your system costs more than $40,000, that annual amount increases proportionally, subject to program limits and your property tax liability. How the NYC abatement process works. In most cases, your solar installer will submit the required forms on your behalf. Here's the step-by-step flow. Step 1. Install the system and place it into service. Step 2. Submit Form PTA-4 to the New York City Department of Buildings. Step 3. If the form is received by March 15th and approved, the benefit begins July 1st and appears as a credit on your property tax bill. If you miss the March 15th deadline, you don't lose the benefits. It typically begins the following July cycle instead. And remember, this filing, done by your installer, is completely separate from your state income tax return. When completed, the credit will automatically appear on your property tax bill. With that said, it's a good idea to confirm with your solar installer that they are filing the forms on your behalf. Here are some questions to ask yourself when filing for your tax incentives. For the state credit, do you have documentation that your system was put into service last calendar year? Are you filing Form IT-255 with your New York State return? For the NYC abatement, did your installer submit Form PTA-4 before March 15th? Was it accepted and complete? 2 separate systems, 2 separate filings. The bottom line, solar in New York isn't just about lowering your electric bill. It's about taking advantage of New York State and city tax incentives, understanding how they stack, and making sure that they are handled correctly. On a $40,000 system, that could mean roughly $17,000 in combined incentives back in your pocket before factoring in energy savings. If this breakdown helped, subscribe to our channel. We explain New York solar benefits clearly so that you can make smart decisions. And if you have questions, drop them below. I'll be reading your comments.